Welcome to the Public Access Podcast. My name's Rusty. I am here today with my special guest. My special guest is Andrew Adams. Andrew, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have you. And we are here. It's Monday night, Tuesday night there. I don't even know what day it is. Today's Wednesday here. I think so. It must be Tuesday, unless.
Yep. Tuesday night.
Okay. What's a Tuesday night for you like usually?
Uh, Usually, let's see, it's making dinner for the family. I'm Tuesday night is the one night of the week that I'm always home, pretty much. I go out. I'm usually out on Mondays and Wednesdays, and Fridays are question marks. Well, I'm usually always home Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have my stepdaughter every Tuesday, so this evening was cooking ribs. My stepdaughter has a friend over, so it's just been hanging out with the two of them, made them dinner, and just chillaxing.
All right, I like that. What kind of preparation do you do for your ribs? If I can get your secret here for your ribs.
So my secret ribs recipe is really easy. I go to Hannaford, which is a local grocery store, and I buy a set of pre-cooked, pre-sauced ribs.
Okay,
I bring them home, I put them in some tinfoil, and I heat them up on the grill.
I like it. So they have the good stuff there. So shout out to that grocery store.
Yeah, it's pretty easy and painless. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it.
Okay, so then are you how I don't know. So like if you're in the oven, not if you're in the oven, but if your ribs are in the oven. Are you cooking them? Is it like an all day thing, or is this like get them in and out as fast as possible?
No,
Or
so these ribs that I get are pre-cooked. So I just cover them in tinfoil and put them on the grill and basically just heat them up for like 15, 20 minutes or
oh
so.
wow, okay,
Yeah, like it's
right,
it's like super. Now, if there are diehard barbecue people out there, of which there are tons, I'm sure, they're
huh?
probably screaming at their phones or their cars right now, their car radios, listening, going, "What are you doing?" Uh, that's just what I do. I
Right.
do it to save time. Ribs are not something that I do often, and tonight was kind of I had a short window of time to prepare dinner, because I had drum lessons and stuff up until 5:30, and then we were getting together like a couple hours after, so I had a short window of time to make dinner for my daughter. And so I was like, ribs will be quick and easy, 20 minutes on the grill, and they're done.
Yeah. So did you have these ribs already? Were they already at your house, or did you stop by and grab them on the way home, or how's
No,
that work?
we had them in our freezer.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a good way to do it. And yeah, I mean, if they're already cooked, someone already did it for you. So I mean, that's what's the point? Like, you don't need to. You got someone else to be able to do the fancy work. The diehard barbecue enthusiasts are going to. Uh,
That's right. I mean, I know that if I had gone to a barbecue place here in town, uh, could I have gotten better ribs? Yes, absolutely. But these ribs were passable. They were
right,
yummy. Like, I enjoyed them. I got them all over my fingers and my mouth. I had to wash my hands and face afterwards. It was great. And
yeah,
and my stepdaughter and her friend loved them as well. So what more do I need?
right. That's what really matters. I mean, some people are happy you know, uh, with any food. Like, and it's some people eat the same food every day, and
Yep,
so
very, very true.
like it's pretty cool. Like you just get, got my own ribs. I got them here in the fridge or in the freezer. Let's bust these out and throw them on the barbecue. What kind of barbecue are you? Are you gas? Are you propane? Are you charcoal?
Yeah, propane. Propane.
Okay, all right. Hank's gonna be happy with that answer, so that's good. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm hungry or something. Just talking about food to start her off here. So.
Yeah, and for you, it's Wednesday morning, so we shouldn't be talking about ribs. We should be talking about like bacon and eggs and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think I had bacon once so far over here. I guess I can have bacon a lot. I've had pork belly, but like as far as like bacon, I don't think I've had a strip of bacon over here, which is odd. There's a lot of pigs, a lot of
Huh?
pork
Yeah, that is
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah, but definitely had a lot of pork belly and a lot of pork other stuff, but no rib. No, no, I haven't had ribs either over here. I, I don't know. Maybe they're just not they're not doing it right for me yet. So, um, but okay. So that's your Tuesday night, and so
Yep.
you said you were doing drum lessons.
Hmm.
Was that you doing drum lessons, like teaching them, or
Yep. Yep. So I teach. I used to have a very well-paying salaried job as a manager at a very, very high-end chocolate factory, and I taught drums kind of on the side. And long story short, and we can get the long story if you want it, but the short story is uh, I decided to quit my job to pursue my passion, which was teaching drumming full time. And so I became self employed about 12 years ago, um, just doing drum lessons, doing them online. I was teaching online drum lessons via Zoom and
12 years
Skype
ago?
long before the pandemic happened in 2020. So I've got online students that I teach all over the country, and I also teach drum set lessons at my house. So students will come here to the house and I'll teach lessons. And so most of my income now is something to do drumming related, whether it's teaching or writing drum scores or being hired to do seminars or being hired to perform. That's the bulk of my income at this point.
Okay. So when you decided to leave the chocolate factory, were you at a point where it was you were doing enough drum work that it was sustainable, or was it I need to leave the chocolate factory because I want to focus more on drum work?
Yeah, it was definitely more of the latter and not the former. I was really, really fortunate at the time that my now ex wife, but my wife at the time was a structural engineer, got paid really, really, really well. And I came home and talked to her, and we decided that we were going to try it for a year and see how it goes, knowing that if it didn't work out really well, we weren't going to be eating ramen noodles out of a can or whatever. Like we were gonna be fine financially if we had to.
Yeah, you could still eat
So
those ribs out of the freezer. Oh, did I lose you? Or is that a joke that didn't land?
oh, sorry there, Rusty. You froze for a bit. I missed all that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just a bad joke. Uh, so I was saying, or something about eating ribs out of the freezer. You still have that option. So
Yeah. No,
okay,
we were very fortunate that she was paid so well that we could afford to not have enough income if something went wrong, but it went right. I mean, I had been uh, teaching drumming even when I was working at the chocolate factory.
okay,
So, it was just transitioning to doing and hustling. And I mean, I worked really hard to be able to get as much income as I could. Um, but, I just started doing more drum stuff because I didn't have the day job at the chocolate factory.
okay. And so what was it like that last day at the chocolate factory for you?
It's interesting. So I gave a incredibly long notice. Like
Oh,
I think I gave because I mean I enjoyed the people I worked with. I recognized that the position that I held was going to be difficult to fill, and I recognized as well like maybe this drumming thing, if it doesn't, like if it's not going really strong gangbusters right away, at least if I slowly peter myself out of the day job, that's okay. So I gave them like a 2-month notice.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay. Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah. And after like a month and a half, maybe it was 5 weeks of me training someone to take my position, they, the owner of the company or the general manager of the company came to me and said, "Hey, if you still want to continue to work out your 2 months, like that's fine. We agreed to that, and that's what we'll do. But if you would like to start to transition yourself out, that's fine." And I think I worked like maybe one more week just to put all my ducks in a row, make sure everything was all set. Um, but I actually ended. I gave them a 2-month notice, but I think I only worked a month and a half. My last day there, I don't know that I remember it. It was 12 years ago now at this point. I mean, I remember being sad that I wasn't going to see everybody all the time. I'm definitely sad that I wouldn't have this really expensive chocolate at my fingertips every day.
Yeah. Was that like something just like left on your desk or quality control kind of thing? You walk by and, oh, I got to make sure that the chocolate's still good.
Yeah,
Uh,
everybody that worked there, it wasn't even there was no illusions of, oh, I'm just testing it to make sure. It was like, no, I just want this piece of chocolate. I'm just going to eat it right now. It was not a big deal at all.
that's good. And then, you're able to tell people that the chocolate's still pretty good and that you're eating it. It's not something that you're not trying or anything
Yeah.
of that sort. Okay. And so uh, you just went home one day and you're like, well, I'm done. That's no more working for someone else.
So here's the interesting story. I watched a video on YouTube. It was about a 3-minute video, and it was Jim Carrey, the famous comedian.
Okay.
He had given a speech at Maharaja University, a commencement speech, and the whole speech was something like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I have since gone back and watched the whole thing, but this video that I saw one day was like 3 minutes long, and it was a clip of his 20-minute commencement speech. And in this clip, he talks about when his father was younger, was a young guy. He could have been a comedian. He had what it took in Jim Carrey's eyes, uh, but his dad played it safe, and he got a job as an accountant. And Jim Carrey was then born. His father is aging; he's much older. And when Jim Carrey was younger, he didn't say what age, but he said when I was a kid. He said my dad lost his job as an accountant, and because he was much older in the job market, he had a really hard time getting another job as an accountant. And so when Jim Carrey was young, he said, my family had to scrimp and save and do everything we could to try and get by. And he he ended this part of this YouTube speech by saying, "My dad taught me many things, the least of which is you can fail at playing it safe, so you might as well go for what you dream." And that just hit me in the chest. At that point in my life, I was getting up, working 50 to 60 hours a week as a salaried manager at this chocolate factory. And I didn't like hate my job, but I didn't love it. And when I got done work, I would drive an hour and a half to 2 hours to Boston or to Albany, New York, or to Manchester, New Hampshire, or wherever in the evening to teach a bagpipe band, because the drumming that I specialize in teaching is drumming for bagpipe bands. So I would like travel 2 hours to Boston after working a full day. Then I would teach for a couple hours, then come home. I'm getting home at like 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, going to bed, getting up in the morning and going back to my day job. So I was killing myself. And I saw this clip, and that statement that you can fail at playing it safe, so you might as well go for what you dream. I went home that night and I talked to my wife at the time, and I went into work the next day and gave my 2-month notice.
Okay. Have you talked with Jim since then? Have you been saying, "Hey, Jim, Jim knows you, you know Jim," or something like that?
No, no, I would
Not
love to
yet.
meet him and I would love to tell him what he did for me. But this was, like I said, this was 12 years ago. I have not had a air quote regular day job since then.
Right. Oh, I think I lost your picture here. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
She had a regular day job for 12 years. Quote, air quotes there. I was doing my air quotes, but they're off camera
Yeah.
right now. There you go. Thank you. Those are my air quotes. They're your air quotes actually, but okay. And so 12 years ago, so that would have been 2014.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. So then for like 12 years, was there ever like any time where you're thinking, well, I think I should go back. Like, what if this isn't working? Or is it just like, fuck it, I'm done?
No, I've not thought that. There have been times where it's been tight. I went. I ended up getting a divorce from my wife at the time, and was single for a while, and that was definitely harder. Um, health insurance here in the United States is expensive, and when you have a regular day job, you usually get insurance through your work. Well, when you're self-employed, you don't have that luxury. And so, there were a few years in there where it was I struggled, but I just knew that teaching drumming is what made me happy, and I did what I needed to do to be able to make it happen. And since then, I met a lovely woman. We got married 8 years ago. We've been married happily ever since. I have health insurance again, which is great.
Your
Um,
health insurance, or is that health insurance with, uh,
it's, well, because I got
with
married, it's health insurance through my wife's work.
even better, you don't have to pay that self-employment health insurance. So
That's right.
that,
We
yeah,
we jokingly say, and please, audience, I am kidding when I say this. We jokingly say that I got married because I needed health insurance, and my wife got married so that she would never be able to retire.
yeah, okay. Well, I mean that seems, like kind of what's up. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like it's hard, being self-employed and not having health insurance. They don't make it easy. Like it's the American dream, having your own business, but you want health insurance, you better be doing pretty damn well at that American dream to be able
Yeah,
to have that. Like it's not really set up too well for health insurance, which is probably an issue, probably
yeah,
something that should be addressed at some point. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like being able to have that health insurance is pretty nice. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the health insurance market is a racket,
Right.
it is useful when you have issues, right? And
Yeah.
I get that. But it hasn't been easy. Like I still struggle. It's I'm hustling all the time. We're trying to get students, as many students as I can, filling up my day as much as I can. Um, doing any sort of drumming stuff I can do. Anything I can do to get money in through drumming stuff is I can't stop. It's always going to be a hustle.
Yeah. Uh, hold on. Okay, come on. I got a what? Come on, dude. Okay. I had a slug that came into the house, so I was sending it on its way. Um, I don't know if I consider this. I don't know. It's sort of I don't know. It's a place where slugs sometimes. I guess it's the first slug I've had in here, maybe second in the past 2 days. There's been a bunch of stuff, a bunch of
Yeah.
like a bunch of rain. So the slugs they wanted something. So the little tiny slug, I was like, what the fuck is that? But so okay. So yeah, the insurance is. Yeah, it's a bit of a racket.
Yeah.
Probably a little more than a bit of a racket, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
But
like,
when
what?
but when
Oh,
you
go ahead.
need it though, I mean, but here's the thing. When you need it, like need it.
Yeah.
I had surgery on my foot a year and a half ago.
Oh.
Like major surgery. Like I had a cyst growing in my ankle. They had to go in and pull that cyst out, which sounds like okay, big deal. They went in, they took the cyst out, but they had to cut my fibula in half.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And then
Oh.
pull this cyst out and then put a plate in and take some bone marrow from my heel, put it between the two pieces of bone to stimulate growth between them so that the bone would grow back, which it did, right? I had major invasive surgery in my ankle. Did I have to pay it? And I want to say like the bill was like over $100,000.
Whoa.
My bill because of insurance was like $1,500. Now,
Okay.
does $1,500 suck to pay? Yes, it does. I don't like having to pay $1,500, but it's way better than paying $100,000.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, that means that, they're still getting paid $100,000 by someone, or, they're getting paid some amount
Yeah,
somewhere. Someone's getting paid some money. But yeah, 1,500 is definitely better than 100,000. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So then, uh, and what happened after you got the surgery? What'd you do to kind of pass the time after you got that surgery, or were you just working, or what'd you do?
so that was financially that was probably the most difficult time for me because uh, for 6 weeks I couldn't put weight on my foot. Like my
Oh,
foot had to not basically not touch the ground for 6 weeks. I could do things online, so I was able to teach some of my online lessons, um, but a lot of my income came from driving to Boston or driving to Albany or driving to Connecticut, a couple hours away. I couldn't drive. I couldn't even put weight on my foot. So, and I certainly couldn't teach drum set. So I definitely struggled financially in those, 6 weeks of not putting my foot down. And then when I could put weight on my foot, I still couldn't drive for a number of weeks. So that was tough. So what did I do to kill time? So I spent a lot of time in front of the TV. I had to have my leg up all the time, basically. I listened to lots of podcasts. I run my own podcast, and so it was a lot easier for me to find the time to do that because I was home with nothing else to do, really. So that was a fortunate happenstance. But it was just lots of sitting around on the couch, basically.
did okay, so did it like fuck up the rest of your body while you were doing that? Like from having to sit around for a while, it fucked me up because I couldn't find a good mixture between rehab and taking it easy. I had a hard time with that. It was either one or the other, so it ended up kind of hurting me than it should have.
Yeah, it has hurt my cardio way more than I would have thought. I would, prior to the surgery, I would be doing martial arts at least once a week, usually twice a week. The podcast I do is a martial arts podcast. I'm heavily involved in martial arts, and going to class once or twice a week was great. And all of a sudden now I can't walk, I can't stand, I can't do anything. I couldn't really leave the house. I stopped working out in any way, shape, or form. And so my cardio is horrible. And I'm slowly trying to get it back. And, this past weekend was one of the first weekends in a year and a half that I've done lots of walking, which is good. I mean, I need to do that. But the surgery was a year and a half ago. My foot still has neuropathy in it. It's still part of my foot is still numb. It's likely going to be numb the rest of my life. I
Oh,
don't have the strength in the foot that I used to. I have exercises that I do to try and build that strength back up, but it's never going to be the same.
well, okay. Yeah, that's fucking, uh, it's got to be difficult.
Yeah,
That's what you've done, and that's what you know. And like when the cardio goes down, that's I think that was hard for me too. I was like, well, yeah, my cardio is just dog shit. Like, yeah, I've been running around getting my ass kicked all over town, after town, and then it goes to, sitting on the couch with my leg elevated, and
yep,
yeah, I mean it took me a while. I mean, walking something that needs to happen, and like I've always been a walker, and like not walking, I think was a hard one for me. Like not just being able to do that. Um, I don't know, like yeah, not walking is trouble, and it's real
yeah,
easy to not walk. And walking, I feel, is a good way for me to get my creativity going. When my creativity is lacking, I feel like a walk usually does something pretty good for that.
yeah, yeah. It gets those gears turning.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, so then with your podcast, uh, do you have? I mean, is that your? I don't know. I guess maybe that's not even wouldn't be your main creative outlet. Is that your main creative outlet, or was that like is that maybe like number three or four or something?
Yeah,
Because
probably. It's definitely not at the top. I mean, drumming is definitely my biggest creative outlet.
yeah,
Um, but the podcast is a creative outlet. We just like we're doing here, we have people on for interviews, and I say we because I'm the producer for the show, and I'm one of the co-hosts. So there's someone else that owns the show, and he hosts. We release 2 episodes a week. Every Monday is an interview episode, just like we're doing right now. Just the host Jeremy and someone, some martial artist from the world, just doing an interview. And we also release episodes on every Thursday, and those episodes are more topic driven. So we'll pick a topic, and Jeremy and I together will talk about it and debate it, or we'll have other people on to talk about some topic or talk about something. Um, and so I definitely get a lot of creative outlet in that regard.
okay. So side question. I don't. You don't have to answer this. How old are you?
I just turned 50 last
You
year.
just okay. So all right. So then that would put you. Uh, so I mean, when you got into martial arts, would that? I mean, would the Karate Kid movies have been a reason why, or
Yeah, I mean, I won't say that it was a reason why. I got started in martial arts because my mom, I was in high school. My brother had gone off to college. So when I was a freshman in high school, my brother was a freshman in college. My mom was a single mom, so it was just my mom and I, and she had been in a not so great relationship with her previous husband. So she had divorced my stepfather, and we were living alone. And I felt a desire at 14 years old to protect my mom. My brother's now away; he's off at college. I'm 14 years old. It's just my mom and I I wanted to protect my mom. And yes, I'm sure that Karate Kid came out in I believe '84.
yeah,
I was born in '75, so
okay,
I was in high school in like 1989. So I would have seen the Karate Kid. I would have seen the Ninja Turtles and been into all
Oh
of that
yeah.
stuff. Um, but I don't know that I saw the Karate Kid and said, I want to do karate.
Okay.
It really stemmed more from wanting to protect my mom. And so I'd said to my mom for a year or so, like, hey, I want to do this. And she's like, no, 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 no. Not ready or whatever. I don't even remember what the excuse was, but I remember bringing it up multiple times. And
Yeah.
eventually, after a year or so, she said, okay, if you want to do this, like, you have to find the place to do it. And so I went into the Yellow Pages, which for those people listening that don't know what I'm talking about, there used to be a book that you could buy, that you would get, that had everybody's phone number that lived in town. And in the back, it had all of the businesses, and they were called the Yellow Pages. So I went to martial arts in the Yellow Pages, and I just found there were 2 or 3 schools in the area. I probably just picked the first one,
Yep.
and I had to call them up and say that I wanted to come in and try it, and then my mom brought me.
So, okay, so what was that like when you went in there that first day? And so this was the first one you went to. You didn't try a different one and be like, yo, this guy is not a good one. Like, I want to try a different one. You went to the first one. You're like, this dude is awesome. Let's stick here. Like, what did they get you into the first day? Was it yeah, I don't know. Like, was it like were you in the
I
middle
get I
of a?
get what you're
Go ahead.
saying. I get what you're saying. I don't remember there being a thing. I was 14 years old. I'm now
Okay,
50. It was a
so it's
long time ago.
been a few years.
But
Yeah.
but I do, like, one of the things I can tell you is that the instructor was a psychologist, a child psychologist, and I suspect that he had a very good read on the kids that he had in class. He saw that I came from. I mean, I really don't want to call it a broken home, because I did not live in a broken home. But I had a single mom. I was living with my mom. It was just my mom and I. We were alone. Um, and he saw that and saw that I didn't really have a strong male role model in my life, and he, intentionally or not, kind of became that, and that really helped me growing up as a kid, doing, going to class and stuff, because I now had a male role model to kind of look up to, um, and because I had seen the Karate Kid, and then the Karate Kid 2 came out, and if there are any diehard martial artists listening, Karate Kid 2 is where they went to Okinawa, which is the birthplace of karate, and Mr. Miyagi uh, showed some martial arts stuff in there, and pictures of his home dojo. And the founder of the style that I had started training in, his name is Chojin Miyagi. And so I was like, this is cool, because I'm studying Goju Karate, which was founded by a guy whose last name is Miyagi. And actually, I'm remembering it wasn't Karate Kid 2 that had come out. Karate Kid 3 came out, where
Oh,
they started learning a special martial art form in the movie. And it is a form from Goju, which I'm training in at that point. And the founder's name is Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi. So, like, I was like, this is cool, because I'm learning the same martial art that Daniel LaRusso is learning. Like, I remember that being really exciting to me. I was already training when that movie came out. So it
what?
wasn't like that movie got me into it, but I remember thinking that's really cool.
So yeah, I mean that's really cool. Like yeah, you're already there, and you're like nudging the person next to you in the theater, and you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Was it like you go there then with your dojo, and like everyone wants to go see it together? Like, do you remember that at all, or is that like was
No,
it not really a thing?
no, it wasn't really a thing. I remember going into class and telling my instructor that I thought it was so cool that that I'm learning the form that Daniel LaRusso has learned in the movie. And it's like, and it's so cool because, and I'm telling him as if he doesn't know. Like, I'm sure he knew about the Karate Kid movies. I wasn't telling him anything he
Yeah.
didn't know, but to me, it's like so cool. I got to tell him like, yeah, and Mr. Miyagi, like he's teaching Daniel LaRusso, and I think it must be Goju-Ryu because his name is Miyagi, and you told us that our founder's name is Chojin Miyagi, and it's the same name. And I just remember being really, really excited at this point. I was probably 16 or 17 years old, but I just remember really, really digging that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty. That's really cool. Like that you're able to have that experience, and then yeah, being able to go and relay it back to him, and then be like, oh, okay, well, was there any like, hey, I saw this in there. Can we do this? Like there, like, or were you already like, I don't know, was there like any spot in there? I don't know if spot's the right word. What would the word be like? Any uh, sequence, like move sequence that
Oh,
you saw
like
in there?
any techniques or anything.
Any techniques or anything that you were
Yeah.
like, hey, I saw it in there, like, or was it already kind of going that way, or was there,
No,
like,
I don't remember there being anything like that. I mean, the second movie had, the first movie had the crane kick, right?
sure,
Which is arguably not really a karate thing. And I
yeah,
say arguably because there is you could make an argument for it, but it's not really the way it happens in the movie is not really a thing. Um, the second movie had the drum technique with the arms. Um, that wasn't anything that we learned. But the third movie was the first actionable thing where he is learning a set of moves. In karate, it's called a kata. And he is learning a kata, and it's one of the things that Mr. Miyagi is teaching him to kind of mellow him out and kind of get rid of some stress and things like that. And that exact kata is one that is in the Goju-Ryu system. And so I started learning that form shortly after the movie came out.
cool. And so, I mean, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's so close to, like, I don't know, like a yoga slash qigong kind of a thing as well. Like, the movement, the breath, everything's all kind of the same that people will call a lot of different things. But I mean, just being able to be that young and have something that powerful, like I'm sure there was a lot of breath work with it,
Yep, yep.
that went in with it, which is something that I don't think most people in high school are learning not only, uh, some sort of martial arts, but as well as breath work and being able to regulate in a certain way. I don't think, regulation of that kind is really happening too much
Yeah.
for high school kids. So
Yeah, I would agree. And meditation as well. It's not like
meditation,
we
yeah,
would it's not like we would sit in class and meditate for an hour every class, but the process of sitting down, calming yourself, meditating for just a couple of minutes to clear your mind and get ready for what you're going to learn. And then
yeah,
after class, the same thing, like clear your mind, like use this time to think about what you learned in class today. Um, that's something that is, as you said, not typically done by children of 15, 16, 17, 18 years old.
right. And I mean, you also like when you're in, some sort of combat, uh, combat training of sorts, being calm, it takes you out of that fight or flight mode as well. And like when you're in that fight or flight mode, you're also not really able to take in new information. And also
Yep.
you're not gonna be loose, you're not gonna be calm, and that's when you get people that are really like wound up and like you gotta like sort of take it out of them to be like, yo, calm down, loosen up, relax,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
which is always a good thing to tell people that need to relax. Just like relax. Just
Yeah, that usually goes
go take a
really
breath.
well, Rusty.
Right, it does it every time. Just take some breath, go relax. Just calm down, okay? And then usually people just calm right down. So almost every time, it's just like, oh, sure, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
And
like magic. Yeah. No,
yeah,
you are correct though that I'm not going to say I am God's gift to staying cool, calm, and collected in a stressful situation, but I have been in stressful situations where other people around me are freaking out, and you just have to find a way to get through. Martial artists are incredibly great at adapting and changing on the fly. If we're in a sparring match, if I'm and I'm not talking real, I'm in a fight, someone's mugging me. I'm talking consensual combat, right?
yeah,
Because that's what sparring is. Two people agreed set of rules that are agreed upon ahead of time, right? We're sparring. If I'm always trying the same thing and it's not working, I have to adapt. I have to find something else that works. So
yeah,
martial artists tend to be really good at that, at pivoting and finding a way. If something's not working, you have to find another way to make it happen. And that can't happen if you're super stressed and can't control yourself. And so uh, I do think I have a better than average ability to do that sort of thing.
yeah. And I mean, so is that sort of kicked in like in other situations in your life, like where all of a sudden that just instinctually comes in, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's probably after the fact that you realize it, and then you're like, oh yeah, and I guess it was because of what I learned. It's just muscle memory,
Yep.
and here I am, and
So
yeah,
I have two examples. One, the chocolate factory that I worked for, um, we our biggest time of the year was Christmas, right? Everybody ordered chocolate for Christmas, and to give you an idea of how expensive our chocolate is, if it and I don't know what chocolate is like in the Philippines, overseas, other places, I don't know, but in the United States, you can go to a local drugstore and buy a 1 pound sampler of chocolate from Whitman or Russell Stover or any number of you know large manufactured chocolate. And a 1 pound assortment is going to cost you maybe, I don't know, $10, $15, right?
yeah,
A 1 pound assortment of our chocolate is $70.
okay. Oh,
So
so must be pretty good.
very high end. I'm not going to say it's good. Some people liked
Yeah,
it, some people might not, but it was very expensive. Christmas was our biggest time of year. And I was the shipping manager. So I was responsible to make sure all of the orders that came in, I had to make sure that those orders got filled, and my staff would put those orders in boxes and ship them out the door. And at Christmas time, we would do, you know, 2,500 packages per day going out the
whoa,
door, all packed by hand. And I remember the first year that I was the was hired on as the assistant manager. The first year I was the manager, we got to Valentine's Day, which is the biggest outside of Christmas. Valentine's Day was the biggest holiday, and we had a day where we had to put out the door 1,800 orders, and I'm the guy in charge. And there was an issue in production, and not production, an issue with UPS getting to us. Like, they had a truck breakdown, and we had to find a way to make it work and get all of this stuff out the door. And you just had to stay calm. And there were other people in my department that were like freaking out and in packing. You have to find a way to make it happen. The
right,
other the other way happened pretty recently, actually, within the last couple of years. So I also drum. I get paid to drum for dance classes. The New Hampshire Dance Institute is an youth and arts and education program here in New Hampshire, and teaching artists, dance teaching artists, travel around to different schools and teach dance in the school. So the kids don't have to go to a dance studio. We send the instructors to the elementary or middle school. Okay.
Yeah.
And I am hired as a musician to drum during those dance classes. Okay. And a couple of years ago, we're in a dance class and the fire alarm goes off. And it wasn't just, oh no, it wasn't a fire alarm. It was a lockdown, which uh, and we were told, like the teachers, the teaching artists and myself, we were told, hey, just, there's going to be a lockdown drill in about 10 minutes, but the kids don't know, right? And for a
Yeah.
lockdown drill, for those that are not in the United States or aren't familiar, it's more than just a fire drill. A fire drill is you get out of the building because it's on fire. The lockdown drill could be there's someone suspicious in the building. Maybe it's an active shooter in the building, which regrettably is something we have here in the United States. And so you have to go to a safe space, lock the doors, get away from any windows. And it's for kids can be kind of scary. And so we have these drills so that they can get used to it. And I knew that this drill was going to happen. And we were in the gymnasium with a class of students. And the lockdown happened. And I immediately, even though I knew it was happening, my head was on a swivel. I was like, and we had to collect all the kids. We had to go into a room. We're in the gym, which is a really large room, but we had to go into a smaller office that had no windows, which was great. And there was another class just outside that they came into the gym as well, and they were kindergartners, so they were like 4, 5, 6 year olds, really little kids, and they buddied up with an older kid. But I remember walking out of the gym like with my hands up, is just and I don't know if people watch this on YouTube, but if you're only listening, I've got, instead of my arms crossed in front of me, I've got one hand up on my chin, but one hand is across my chest, and this is a very common non-threatening defensive posture, because all I have to do is put my hands out and I'm in a fighting position, right? And
Yeah.
I remember backing out of the gym, making sure I was the last one that left the gym. Like all of the kids went first, and I was the last one out. And then we got in this room with no windows, closed the door, and I put myself against the door, or not against the door, just off of the door, but my foot was in front of the door, but I was away from the door, if that makes sense.
That makes
And
sense.
I I didn't go into this thinking that's what I'm going to do. I just did it. And it wasn't until after the fact that I thought about, oh, wow, like, yeah, I made it a point to be the last one out, that all the kids were taken care of first. I was constantly looking around just to see if there were other kids maybe that needed to come to where we were sheltering. I made sure that the door was closed and locked, and I had my foot against the door so I could feel anything that happened. Never planned for that to happen, but it did happen.
And then muscle memory kicked in, and you're there. You're, you know, more more calm than you are, dude. You know, and you're ready. Because yeah, everything just happens, and like you said, you automatically went into that, defensive position. You automatically went up against the door. You automatically got everyone out in front of you, and more led by example,
Yeah.
more than anything. Just naturally what you're gonna do. And so, uh, so then with drumming, then are you um, so I don't, like at your house? Are you using like are you far enough away from people like neighbors and stuff, or do you have like a bunch of deadeners on the like pads
No.
on the sets or anything? Or are you just like
No,
fucking go
so
go crazy?
we don't live in an apartment. We have our own house. So we have neighbors, but like you have to leave and walk across the yard. There, it's enough of a space that it's not that big of a deal. So
Cool.
a lot of my lessons that are online happen over Zoom, and they're usually not usually they're all pipe band drumming lessons. So it's one on one, and it's just a pair of sticks and a rubber practice pad. And so it's easy because just like you and I are seeing each other, I can drum and you can watch, and you can drum and I can watch, no problem. I don't teach drum set online. I do have a lot of drum set students. They come to the house. I go into the basement where my drum set is, one of my drum sets anyway, the one I have set up for students, and we can sit next to each other and both play the drum set at the same time, and I can do my instruction down there. But it's not, I mean, it's loud in the house, but I'm usually not teaching lessons when there are other people around in the house.
Yeah. Okay. And then so what about the acoustics and the soundproofing and stuff of that nature? Where'd you learn that, or is that not a thing even?
I don't worry about it because my neighbors are
Right.
far enough away that they're not going to hear. They're not going to hear it.
Okay. That's a good deal right there. That you can just let it go and not have to worry about getting into uh, some room, closing the door, just let it fly. And
Yep. Yep.
okay, so then you were getting into uh, playing with bagpipes. Uh, so where did that part come from? Like, how did that combination come about?
So this is an interesting story. So my biological father and my mom divorced when I was very, very young, maybe 5 or 6, like we pretty young. And my dad moved to Alaska with my oldest brother, Sean. And I knew growing up as a kid that my dad played bagpipes and my brother Sean played snare drum in a bagpipe band with my father. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Now, growing up, I go through elementary school, middle school, and get into high school. I'm doing the martial art thing. Uh, I wasn't doing any music stuff other than singing in the chorus. And I
Well,
sang in chorus for probably the same reason that most, not all, most guys sang in chorus. Now, Rusty, if you had to guess what that reason was, what would it be?
the tick, bro.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, I was too shy to actually talk to any girls in class,
Yeah.
but I could be like, I'm standing next to a girl and maybe we'll become friends, and who knows.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, I did enjoy it as well, but that wasn't necessarily the main reason I did chorus. the
Right.
The chorus director was also doing band, and he came to me one day. I was a junior in high school, I think, and he came to me and said, "Hey, Andrew, do you want to learn to play the drums?" And I said, "No, not really." And he said, "Oh, bummer. We really need drummers in the concert band and the marching band. We really need drummers." And I thought maybe you might like to. And I said, "Well, I really don't. But even if I did, band happens when I'm in social studies class. So even if I wanted to play the drums, I couldn't do band because I've got social studies." And he said, "I can get you out of social studies every other day." And I said, "I want nothing more in life than to learn to play the drums."
That's great motivation right there.
And he absolutely got me out of my social studies class every other day, which was great because I hated social studies.
Sure.
And he taught me how to read drum music and how to hold the sticks and how to play. And so I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I started playing in the jazz band. He let me take like over summer vacation and like Christmas vacation and stuff. I didn't have a drum set at home. He let me take the school drum set home for breaks so that I had
Wow.
something to play on over vacation, which was really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
And not something that really happens these days, in my opinion. I don't see that happening here. But he
Sure.
he saw that this was something that I really enjoyed, one of the few things that I really had going on in my life that I really, really, really loved and was gaining some real aptitude for. So he let me take them home. I'm doing drum set, concert band, marching band, everything is great. Graduate high school, go off to college. I'm home over college break, and there's an ad in the back in the classifieds. I don't remember what I was looking for in the classifieds, but again, any younger people in the audience listening or watching, classifieds used to be in the newspaper, and you'd look in the newspaper, which they probably still exist, but you would put things that you want for sale if you're looking for jobs or whatever. And
Yeah.
there was an ad in the classified, and the entire ad said, "Drummers wanted, Scottish bagpipe band, please call." And it had a phone number. That was the entire ad. And it was like teeny tiny. And I was like, well, I'm a drummer. I was drumming in high school and, still doing drum set stuff at this point after college. So I called the phone number and I joined my first bagpipe band. Now, here's what's interesting. When I was in high school drumming, I had a relationship with my dad. Not a great relationship. We would talk on the phone on my birthday, at Christmas, at Thanksgiving, like holidays. But he lived in Alaska. I lived in New Hampshire, right? 3,000 plus miles away. But when I started drumming in high school, drum set and marching band, concert band, I all of a sudden had something kind of to talk to my dad about because my brother Sean, who at this point he had passed away, but my brother Sean had played drums, and to me it's like this is kind of cool because it's something my brother did,
Yeah.
and he drummed in a bagpipe band, but I'm drumming in a jazz band, but it's kind of the same thing, right? In my head. And then I joined a pipe band. My dad plays bagpipes. He still plays bagpipes. So now we have something in common to talk about. And I think that, coupled with the fact that now I'm out of college, I'm 20 years old at this point, old enough to start being able to do things on my own, he and I started having a bit more of a relationship. And to this day, we have a very good relationship. He now moved from Alaska to Florida, complete opposite ends of the
Okay.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Um, but we talk on the phone every few months. We catch up. I travel down to see him, usually about once a year or so. Um, and I genuinely credit joining a bagpipe band with that. And so that's where I
Okay.
started. That's where I started doing drumming for bagpipe bands, and that would have been, I can tell you, 1995.
Okay. So yeah, 31 years ago. And so, uh, I mean, there's, I don't know. I mean, how many drummers for bagpipe bands specifically are there in the world, do you think?
There are lots. There are lots of bagpipe band drummers. There are lots of instructors, but in New England, I'm the only full time one. And what I mean by
Cool.
that is there are, probably I can count, I can probably count 5 to 6 really good pipe band drumming instructors in the Northeast of the United
Oh,
States. But they all have regular day jobs. They're one of them is works in a law office. They have regular jobs, air quote regular jobs,
and
and they teach drumming on the side like I used to do.
yeah.
So I am the only full time pipe band drumming instructor that I know of. I mean, maybe somebody recently quit their job and that's all they're doing now, but I don't think so.
They haven't called you and told you yet. They haven't
No,
said,
no,
"Hey,
not yet.
Andrew, yeah, guess what? I'm number two now. You better
but
you better be
But
ready."
here's the thing: the bagpipe band world, pipe band world, is very very small. Um, so all of these instructors, I know them. Like they're all friends of
Okay,
mine.
even
We're not
better.
in competition with each other. We're all good friends. And pipe band, joining a pipe band has brought me so much stuff. I've gotten to travel the world with it. I go to Scotland every year pretty much to compete at the World Pipe Band Championships.
Whoa.
Playing in a pipe band brought me to Japan for 3.5 months. Like, I really truly have gotten to see the world because of it.
Yeah. Uh, so okay, so to go kind of gimmicky like with the Karate Kid. So I'm mostly from Portland, Oregon.
Yep,
Uh, are you familiar with the Unipiper?
I am.
Okay, and so yeah, that's yeah. I mean that like for as far as bagpipes like that, and then like you know Rowdy Roddy Piper, like those
Sure.
are kind of my connections into it. But so when you went to Japan, were you also thinking about uh, the martial arts part of it, and were you checking out those kind of places as well, and kind of
So
killing two birds stone at once?
yeah, so I in my martial art career, I have trained, at this school, and then my first school in high school, and then I went into college, was still training there. And then I had to take a break because I moved away, and I'm now responsible for all my own bills, right? I moved out of my parents' house, and I now have to pay for everything, and I couldn't afford it. So karate lessons were not, paying for karate classes weren't on the docket for me. And then I moved away. And so getting to class would have been difficult anyway. Then I started training again in a new school and trained there for like 16 years or so, and then got married, moved away. So now I can't go to that school. And so it was in it was in this next break where I wasn't actively training and I hadn't been training for a couple of years. But I get this opportunity to go to Japan for 3.5 months. Uh, and I was like, this is great. Like, I've always wanted to go to Japan. I love everything about Japanese culture, so I was really excited to go and get to not only get to be there for 3.5 months, but to get paid to drum in Japan for 3.5 months. All of my housing is covered. Like, this is a dream come true. So
Yeah,
I brought my uniform with me, and I brought my black belt with me because my expectation was this is great. I'm going to get to train. Well, the experiences I had with my two martial arts schools were such that neither of them really had connections to any school in Japan. And so
okay,
I had no idea at the time that to train in Japan is actually not an easy thing to do. It's not just like you bring your stuff and you show up and you get to train. You kind of need somewhat of an in or a connection or someone here in the States that can help you make that connection with the school over there. So I had intentions to train while I was there for 3.5 months. I did not, unfortunately, get to. I tried, but it didn't really work out. So,
yeah,
c'est la vie.
okay, all right. And so then, so let's see. So then I have like one more sort of thing here. Uh, so you're in New Hampshire, and I don't know if you know, you don't have to answer this one. Uh, so being as someone from New England area, what are your thoughts on Connecticut? Because most everyone that's usually the punchline to a lot of jokes through there.
Yeah, I mean, Connecticut. It's the state that everyone forgets is in New England.
Yeah,
uh, for sure. Like, everybody remembers Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and even Little Rhodey, like Little Rhode Island. Like, people remember,
yep,
but everybody forgets that Connecticut is a part of New England. But it really is. Uh, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, you can say they're bad drivers, but you're gonna find bad drivers everywhere. So,
right.
whatever.
Okay. You ever go to Stu Leonard's grocery store? And
No.
is that not okay? Uh, that was one of my things I enjoyed doing there was they have they have animatronics within the grocery store. It's an interesting kind of thing. I think they have them in New York and Connecticut.
Wow,
But
interesting. Yeah, no, I've never heard
yeah,
of them.
okay. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I think they call it a farm store, but like
And what's it
I don't
called
know,
again?
Stu Leonard's.
Stu Leonard's. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Connecticut was cool. What's okay? So then this the other question. So, how do you do your lobster roll, or do you do lobster rolls ever?
Not a fan of. This is gonna come as a surprise. Not a fan of lobster, but I love crab.
Okay. So do you ever go down to Maryland then for crab, or are you a crab New England crab guy?
So I'm not a fan of Maryland blue crab, which is what you would typically would get in Maryland. I'm a fan of like big crab, whether it's king crab or which is obviously going to be the biggest, but you
Yeah.
know, a Dungeness or snow crab or like that, like full size crab where you're going to be cracking the legs to get the meat out. That's the kind of crab that I like, not the
Okay.
little Maryland blue crabs with Old Bay
Yeah.
seasoning. I've had them. It's just not my cup of tea.
Right. Okay. Cool. And okay. So then, go back then. So, for your training, was there a certain style that is something that is uniquely you that you do with your training that is, or is it a mixture of a lot of different aspects and stuff, or is there something where it's like, I have Andrew and this is what he does differently, or
Yeah,
Andrew.
that's a really good question, Rusty. I would say so. Everything, you know, my martial arts that I do is it's always going to be a mixture of my experiences, right? And I, I would say for me, it's a combination of lots of different styles of karate. And you know, your audience may think, "Oh, karate is just karate," right? But there's actually lots of different kinds of karate. And so, if any of your listeners haven't experienced and want a little more detail, so I've trained in Goju-Ryu karate, I've trained in Shotokan karate, and I've trained in Shorin-Ryu karate. Three fairly well-known styles of karate, but they're all karate. They're different. They are absolutely different, but they have a lot of things that are similar. The thing that I like the most about martial arts outside of the community aspect is learning forms and then working applications from those forms. So, you know, kata is basically, for lack of a better description, it's a prearranged dance, essentially. You're doing blocks and punches and kicks all by yourself. No one else is around. It's just you, and it's a solo aspect of martial arts, which I really enjoy. Um, is it real fighting? No, and there are people out there that are like, oh, I hate kata because it's not real fighting. Well, it's not meant to be real fighting. First off, but I really enjoy doing these forms and working through applications. So a very very surface level, you know, in the kata there may be a rising block where your arm comes over your head. Well, that could be somebody striking, trying to hit you on the head and you're blocking their arm. I'm getting very very simplistic here, but that just as so your audience can understand what I'm talking about. It's working these moves into what their applications could be. I really really enjoy that aspect of karate. But I also have, you know, I've done some kickboxing. I actually have a black belt that I trained under Bill Superfoot Wallace, and I have a black belt given to me from Bill Wallace, which is he's a very very well known undefeated U.S. kickboxer. Um, you know, so you know, I have that kickboxing experience as well, but karate is mostly what I do.
Okay. Then, as far as your drum teaching, I mean, it's like what is your part that is like people are gonna go, that's like if they hear it or they see it or experience it, like they're gonna know, like that's Andrew right there. Like, what
Yeah,
is there a
so
certain thing,
that's
or is that
harder. That's a harder thing to have, and it's not impossible to have your own unique sound. But in drumming, there are definitely drum set drummers that I can hear and be like, I'm pretty sure that's this person. And then in pipe band drumming, it's the same thing. Like if I hear something drumming, I might be like, oh, that's that person's style. A great example I have of this is so I used to teach at a high school, drumming at a high school. It was a high school that had its own bagpipe band,
Whoa.
and it had its own pipe band program. So, and it was a private school, so kids would go to
Okay.
class, and they would go to math class, and they go social studies, and if they chose to, they could go to this pipe band class. It was called Celtic Arts class, and they could learn pipe band drumming, bagpiping, or Highland dancing. And so I was the drumming instructor for this high school program. And one of my seniors, he was a senior in high school. He was thinking about going to college, and he went down to Iona College, which is a college on Long Island. And the college has a pipe band program as well. So he went down to audition for the pipe band, see if if he could get some scholarship from the pipe band program at the college. So he went down, and no one at the college knew who he was. No one at the college really knew who I was either. Like I wasn't really big up, well known at that point. Um, so he went down to audition, and he played his piece for them, and they had no idea who this kid was or who his instructor was. But they said, "Oh, are you a student of Eric McNeil?" Now, I took lessons from Eric McNeil for years. And they said, "Are you a student of Eric McNeil?" And he said, "No, who's Eric McNeil?" He had no idea who Eric was because he hadn't met him. But the reason they thought that is because he played like me, and I played like Eric, and Eric played like his instructor. So it just kind of passed on. So there are ways that you can have your own style, but I don't know that I have my own drumming style yet. Maybe someday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, which is something too, which is cool. Like, one of the people that trained me in wrestling, like, I started, like watching a lot more of one of his trainers stuff, and then I see like his punches, and I'm like, oh, okay, those punches, like, those look exactly like yours. Like, I can totally see that in there, and like, and then it's cool, and then like I'm, watching that, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It's cool to be able to see the lineage, and I'm sure it was cool for your student then to be able to go like, I should go check out this guy and see who my training grandpa is,
Yeah,
and figure that out and be able to pick up some other stuff that I maybe not have known. And so
yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, and so
And
like
and
so
and here's a
go
here's
ahead.
a here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact
Yeah,
about that student as well. So he ended up not going to Iona College. Uh, he ended up actually becoming a better drummer than I am, which
great.
is great. A lot of people will hear that and be like, "Oh, you must be a crappy teacher." No, that actually means I'm a great teacher. Like I was
Yep.
able to get somebody to be better than I was. Ended up joining the band that Eric McNeil ran, and
Whoa.
when I went to Japan for 3.5 months, they needed another drummer to go with me because they hired 5 bagpipers and 2 drummers, and so I helped put the group together. So this particular student went with me to Japan for 3.5 months.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, that's a great way to get everyone going, and then yeah, that's being able to have your lineage over there and being able to really be able to mix everything. And you had to pivot, which is good. And you had to be adaptable, like you're saying. And so like
Yep.
that puts a lot together. And so like that says a lot about your teaching. And so with if people are wanting to work with you to do that, how are they going to find you besides down here in the description? And or find you to listen to your show or anything of that nature.
Sure, sure. So you can email me. My email is very easy. It's andrew.adams.drums, because I teach drums, andrew.adams.drums@gmail.com. So you can email me there. My podcast is called Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio. We are the largest and number one ranked traditional martial arts podcast in the world. As of this recording, I don't know when this episode will come out, but as of this recording, we just released episode 1150.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, that's an impressive number right there. That's like, yeah, no one's doing that. Most, you're in the top 1% if you do more than 22 episodes.
Yeah, I think that's what I've read something to that effect as well.
Yeah. Yes. People like, oh, I have a top 1% podcast because they've done, 22 or 23 episodes. It's like you done 1,150. You said.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's an insane number. That's there's not a lot of podcasts that have that.
And they're not podcasts that are like 5 minutes long. Our interviews are about an hour. Our topic shows on Thursdays are about a half an hour. So, I always chuckle a little bit when someone gets introduced to the show and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to go and listen to your whole back catalog." It's like, okay, come see me in a couple of years.
Yeah, right. If you're listening every day, to it, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, I mean that's fucking awesome. And okay, yeah. So thank you so much for being here. You guys, if you need 2 years of your life, there's a good back catalog there if you want to go check that out. If you're listening one a day, yeah.
And it'll take a while to catch up because we're putting out 2 a week. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna fall even further behind. So you better start now. Start today. Go get on there and start listening. Start watching. Start doing whatever you got to do.
But in all seriousness, Rusty, I want to thank you for letting me come on and chat. I've had a blast. This was a lot of fun. And if people are interested in the podcast that I do, that's great. There are lots of martial arts podcasts out there. You might not like ours, which is totally fine. Go listen to another one. Go train martial arts. I don't care what martial art it is. I genuinely believe that if everyone in the world trained martial arts for 6 months, it would make the world a better place. I wholeheartedly believe that. I don't care what martial art it is. And go listen to Martial Arts Podcast. If you like ours, awesome. You can go back through and find some famous martial artists that you know or have heard of. I all can but guarantee you we've interviewed them. So go look at our back catalog, find those podcasts and listen. And thank you so much for letting me come on here and shoot the breeze with you for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Great having you. And that's the kind of person that says, I believe in this so much what I'm doing that even if you don't want to watch or work with my style here, there's a lot of other ones, and I believe in it so much that that's where you should go because that's how important it is, and that everyone should go and learn martial arts because of how beneficial it can be. That's you're not saying only do mine because I want to get that money or whatever. Like you believe in it enough. That means it's important and it's
absolutely.
It's
in
good.
fact, most not I won't say most, but many other martial arts podcasters, we've invited them on our show. We've let them come on for an interview. We don't care. We're just happy to talk martial arts. We just like you. We just love talking to people.